Hey friends, welcome to a new episode. Today we are going to dig deep into all things macros and weight loss, and we're talking about 4 ways to tell if you're ready for weight loss. But before we get into that, I want to give you this little testimonial. I found the 8-week fat loss program to be super helpful. I was really struggling to get my numbers right, and I was starting to feel like it was so much work and I didn't want to do it at all. But the coaching helped me realize that there are many different ways to track your progress, and it's not just about getting your numbers right. It's also about building habits that support you in reaching your goals. The coaching helped me focus on what matters most, making sure I'm taking care of myself and building healthy eating habits that will last for a lifetime. Friends, this is exactly why I coach. I would definitely recommend this program if you're someone looking for support as you start or continue on your journey towards a healthier lifestyle. Now, if you want results like that for yourself, continue listening to today's episode. Grab your tea because it's going to be a juicy one. 4 ways to tell if you are ready for weight loss. Let's get into it. Hey, friend, welcome to Lose Weight with Macros, the Basics podcast show with me, your host, Verona, where I believe if you are the woman that you are struggling to lose weight, you're sick of crash diets, fad diets, and gimmicks, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to get the results that you want, you are in the right place. If you're somebody who's overwhelmed by all of the conflicting information out there, you're confused about how much protein you should be eating, how to count macros, you don't have time to figure out your macros, and you're sick and tired of repeating the same old boring meals because it is exhausting, you are in the right place. Because, my friend, this Lose Weight with Macros Basics podcast is specifically for you. You're the woman who wants to learn how to track your macros and do it sustainably, do it in a way that you can enjoy your foods and you don't have to cut out your favorite foods, and we're not here for that. So, my friends, if this is you, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your water, grab your matcha, your notepad and pen, because today's episode is going to be a juicy one and you're going to need to take notes. So buckle up, friends, let's get it. So, are you really ready to lose weight? If the answer is yes, then you're in the right place. I encourage you to grab your tea. I've got mine, my peppermint tea with a dash of honey in it because I just like that taste of honey. And you need your notepad and your pen. If you're driving, obviously you can't get your notepad and pen, but just pay attention because today's tips are going to be juicy. Now, I don't just want you to take notes. I don't just want you to write it down, close the book, and then, put the pen down and then forget about it and then start going back to your habits and your old ways, because it's hard to break old habits and it's hard to put new habits in. But when you're intentional about what you're doing and what you're putting into your body, then you see results. You've got to work at it. It doesn't stay like that forever because there are always going to come things to try to derail you off your path, whether you're a Christian woman like I am or you're not. There is always going to be someone or something that will seek to take away all of the hard work that you've done. But when you learn the tools that you do, when you coach with me, these are tools that you can forever use in your arsenal so that when the attacks come, so that when the temptations come, you just take out your tool and you know how to use that against this. So I'm encouraging you to say that you're in the right place, but we're going to take a look at some questions that will help you know if you're truly ready to start focus on the fat loss or to work one-to-one with me as your coach or another coach. So the first thing that we're covering is the first way to tell if you are really ready for weight loss is, do you have the time? How much time do you have to cook and to eat healthy? How much time do you have to prepare the meals? How much time do you have to meal prep? How much time do you really have to put into it? Now, I'm not saying for you to decide, right, where can I fit this in? Where can I fit myself in? When you're making time for yourself, you are putting yourself as a high priority. And many of us struggle to do that because there's so many things that we are doing, so many things that demand for our time, not necessarily those things that need our time. There's a difference there. So it's about asking yourself, do you have the time? We all have the same amount of hours in a day, and many people don't like that statement, but it's the fact. The fact of the matter is, no matter who you are, we all have 24 hours in a day. However, we don't all spend the same 24 hours in a day. Now, many people seem to get perturbed by that statement, and I don't understand why. People get really riled up. Other personal trainers I've seen on social media, no, we don't all have the same 24 hours. Yes, we do. We do all have the same 24 hours in a day. How we spend time, how you manage your time, and how I manage my time is going to be very different. Now, we may spend more time on things or activities than we actually need. We're not going to know that until we assess our time. And that's one of the things that we do in Focus on the Fat Loss, by checking out your time and checking out how often that you do this. Where does your time go? Does your time sit in front of the TV, gorging episodes on Netflix all day, every day? Nothing wrong with Netflix, nothing wrong with these things. I'm not saying that you can't watch your shows, but if that's all you do, and then when you need to do time for other things, you haven't got the time to that, then the issue isn't that we don't have 24 hours in a day. The issue is how you're managing your time. And all of those things can be worked on. How much time do you have to exercise? Now, realistically, I'm talking about how much time you have. Now, not how much time you want to have, how much time you do have. How is it possible for you to actually start to do meal prep with the time that you have? If you find out that there are things that are taking up your time, then it's about, do you need to be doing that all the time? Do you need to be spending that amount of time on those things that you're doing? Do you need to spend 3 hours watching catch up, watching shows when you've got other things to do and your doctors are concerned about your health? These are questions that you have to answer to really determine whether or not you are ready to lose weight. How much time do you have to plan your meals? How much time will you need to count your macros? Which is a tool that many people use when it comes to meal planning and meal prepping. And as your macros coach, that's what I'm teaching you about. Number 2, have you tried to lose weight before? Now, this episode is going to be a different kind of episode because I'm asking you to really understand if you are really ready for weight loss. Now, episode 45 and episode 46 was one of the biggest downloaded episodes ever in my whole show because I'm really going into my mindset coaching there and I'm really getting you to think about these questions. Now, many of you might decide, this is not for me. You're not telling me what I want to hear, and that's totally fine. Then the answer to your question is no. For ways to tell if you're ready for weight loss, you don't even have to go through all of these points. That will tell you no. If you're feeling uncomfortable and you don't really like what's being said, try to go past that and actually ask yourself the question, do you have the time to put in and do what it takes to do this? If the answer is no, are there any other ways that you can make more time? Now, number 2, have you tried to lose weight before? If you've tried to lose weight before, but then for some reason you haven't been able to be successful, then it may not be the time for you to try again. However, the caveat to that is, if your health depends on it, you are going to need to make the time. You are going to need to focus on ways that you can sustainably lose this weight. It's not about, I failed before, I'm not going to do it again. Your health now needs you to lose weight. Your children now need you to lose weight. Your grandchildren, your family, whoever it is that you are caring for, whoever it is that you want to do this for, that encourages you and inspires you to do it for, you now have to get to that point where you're like, I don't have a choice. The choice has now been taken away from me because my eating habits, my eating patterns, my relationship with food, my relationship with myself has now compromised my body so much that it's now beginning to affect my health. And so, like myself, that's what happened. I was like, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, but I was playing too much. I wasn't ready to lose weight because of everything that was attached to it. And I built up habits, patterns, mindsets, behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, ideas around that false sense of security, and that became a safe space even though it was incorrect. Those habits then become a safety net. Now, in the Bible, if you've ever read the Bible or you've read some parts in the Bible, or in war, there is something called a stronghold. Now, a stronghold is a building or other structure that is safe from attack. It's a fortress. A fortress is another word or a perfect word that fits with a stronghold. It's a castle or a fort surrounded by stone walls and moats. And that's one type of stronghold that you can. And the purpose of the stronghold is to keep people or valuables inside them safe from invading armies. Now, why am I talking about strongholds? Now, there are spiritual strongholds that we can have in our mindset. If you're Christian, then you know that we talk about pulling down the strongholds in 2 Corinthians 10:5, and we talk about it in Ephesians as strongholds of a mind. So what happens is a fortress is built up in our mindset, and that we go to that place in our minds, or we create a thing with food, and then we create a safe place to protect us or people or ourselves from invading enemies. Now, this can also be classed as a negative. So in the war, this is what that was created for. Now, if you're somebody who's not good at practicing being vulnerable, this is a key example of that. You put up walls around your heart, you put up walls around your mindset, so you are not vulnerable with the people that you need to be vulnerable with or when you need to be vulnerable. So you put yourself in that safe space. And I did that too for a long time, many, many years. And you just get used to being in that safe place. And so nothing can come in and nothing is going out because of fear of rejection, fear of being hurt, fear of being all of these things. And so when you feel that you failed, this is what happens. You begin to build a fortress. Weight loss is never going to work for me again. I'm never going to do a diet again because they don't work. I'm never going to hire a weight loss coach because my last weight loss coach actually failed me. My last 3 weight loss coaches failed me. And that is reality for very many, many, many of you. It didn't work. But those things don't mean that you are a failure. And I apologize that you've had to experience 3 coaches. The way their systems that you have bought have got you to this place where you've had to erect strongholds or walls around you. Though you know you need to lose weight, you cannot do that because you feel fear that you are going to fail again. And so what that happens is we build up those walls so nothing can come in. No other new coach, no matter how much you want to join me, that fear is stopping you because of the stronghold. But there always is going to be times when you feel like giving up or slipping into your old habits, but slowly, brick by brick, mortar by mortar, wall by wall, layer by layer, you can bring those strongholds down. You are in control of that. Now it's natural, but once you restart again, you need to learn to trust yourself. You get to a place where you can trust yourself, you can trust God, and be like, I can do this. But what needs to change, the biggest thing that needs to change, the biggest thing that needs to switch is what you are saying to yourself about yourself. I haven't said that my tagline for a long time, but it's so true. You need to change what you're saying to yourself about yourself. And if you can stick with your goals, you can stick with one goal. One goal could be as simple as, right, I've come to this episode today to find out 4 ways to see if I'm ready to lose weight. Going off number 1, do you have the time? That's one thing that you can do. Do you have the time? And if the answer is either yes or no, the answers are just very simple, yes or no. Do I have the time? If you're answering no, the next question is, how can I make time to take care of myself? Now, these are things that you're breaking down. These are small things that you can set goals to do that. Okay, if you identify how can I set goals or create time to do that? I might not need to binge watch 5 episodes of my series that are 45 minutes each straight in a row. I could take one 45-minute section and then go for a walk. Or I could take one 45-minute section and take 5 minutes away from that, or even 10 minutes, and do some research on some healthy recipes. I could take that 5 minutes to go to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/recipes and download the recipe pack that Verona provides for $9.99. Now that has just come from one question. All those things, all those actions have come from that one question, do you have the time? Now initially you might answer, no, I don't have time, but you're then breaking that down to say, how much more can I make time? If you're watching those shows 5 in a row, you probably don't need to watch 5 in a row all day, every single day, every single week. Can you possibly take 45 minutes from that show to do that? Now, if you're watching 5 shows back to back, 45 minutes, you've got time, and you're not interrupted by the kids, nobody's interrupting you. That's time that you could be using to both watch your show, and I know these shows are now created where they're so good, they get you hooked that you want to do that over and over again, and you want to bring the snacks and you want to do those things. I'm not saying you can't do those things. I'm saying, and I teach how to have the best of both worlds. So I've just given you a little breakdown of how you can break that down and ask yourself these questions. But it is about asking questions and answering that. Sometimes we don't want to see those answers because it is hard to possibly believe that because of the strongholds that we've put up. Now, if you successfully lost weight before, then I'm encouraging you to say that you can do this again. Now, if you're wanting to lose the weight and keep it off, I'm encouraging you to say that I'm going to be the coach with you. You've listened to this podcast for as long as I have been creating these episodes, or you might have stumbled upon it. I'm not that coach that's going to tell you nonsense. I haven't got time to tell you nonsense, because what does that profit me? What does that gain me by telling you, yeah, you can do this, you can do that, you can do anything you want? No, let me tell you reality. If you are of a high body fat percentage, like I've got 40% body fat percentage, and I've also got a higher percentage of muscle mass. My body has changed now, so I probably don't have as high as 40%, but there's still a high body fat BF percentage that I have that I don't like. So next week, I'm starting my 20 weeks of intense muscles training, strength, nutrition. So I'm dialing back on all of my things that I need to dial back on, and then I'm getting intentional about it. Yes, I've tried to lose weight before. Yes, I'm still losing weight, but now I am putting myself through my macros. I've done my macros already, and I'm following in my macros. So in Focus on the Fat Loss, where I'm teaching you through your macros, these are all things that I'm teaching you to do, so that over a 20-week period, not everybody needs to go through 20 weeks, but it's an intentional purpose, an intentional training program through nutrition and training, intentional weightlifting to build muscle. That's what I'm doing. Don't worry, I am not going to get bulky, because that's not my goal. But that is where I'm realistically setting goals, and I've created a plan as to how I'm going to achieve those goals. So going back to, do you have time? Use the example I've just given you to really dig in and create your own plan, because not everybody needs accountability. Not everybody needs a coach. You just need this one thing to actually get you there, and then you can start it, which is why and that's why you can also go and grab You Can Eat That Bundle, the macros guide, for you to calculate your macros and do this yourself. And so you're thinking with this logical mindset to be able to do that. By the way, all of these things that I mentioned in the episode will be in the show links, the show notes below. Number 3, have your friends and family reacted to your weight loss plan? Now, it can be seen as the final piece of the puzzle, whether or not your friends and family have reacted to your weight loss plan in a positive way. Because if they've reacted negatively, very people that you want to react positively, if they've done the opposite, this can be a complete turn off for you completely. It can be discouraging, it can be demotivating. And if they don't support you and offer the right support and encouragement, then I would encourage you to find other people who will understand your goals more. I understand that you want those people to be your support. You want them to be your ride or die. I get it because they know you, they're your family. But I've also learned I cannot force anybody to think in a way that they are not. And it's about learning to let go of control. It's hard. Now, I remember when I had these friends, I've had friendships for like 20 years, and some of those friendships, some of those people, some of those relationships are still in that place where I was 20 years ago. But what they don't realize is I'm not in that place anymore. They choose to see me in that place where I was 20 years ago because, say, I do the same habits, or say a habit comes up, or I kind of do something. Have you ever been in a situation where you went through a situation and you meet a new person, and a word that they say, a smell, an action, a facial expression, color clothes, because that is associated to a negative memory or a painful memory, whatever it is that that person does, they might not know what it is, that triggers that thing, and then it triggers that reaction, and then the stronghold comes up again, the walls, the protection, it all comes up. But because they're used to seeing that type of behavior always over and over again, or because you're used to doing that behavior over and over again, they automatically see you still in that place. Now, it goes both ways. Let me not, say it's one person and not the other. It does go both ways, because we need to get to that place where we can actually like lower the walls. And when those temptations come, remember, we go into our tool bag and we're like, right, this is the thing that I need to do. I can ask clarifying questions. What did you mean by that? When you said this made me feel some type of way. What that did, it set off a trigger in my mind. I just need to clarify. Did you mean it like this? If they tell you yes, then you address it. If they tell you no, that's it, you squash. That's how you pick up tools to change your thing, because people are always going to say, oh, do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when you did that? Oh, do you still do that? Oh, do you still spend all your money at once when you first get it? Do you blow your check? Do you do this? You might now be an accountant. You might now marry an accountant. You might have so much financial favor or blessings or whatever else that takes you to a place. That comment that they made takes you to an old place, takes you back to a place where you're like, why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep going back to that place? Oh yeah, because they don't know you. Years have gone by. They don't know you. They haven't tried to change their perspective of you, but they always keep you in the place that you are no longer in. Now, my thing is, I'm gonna leave you there. If you want to stay there, you can stay there. The door's open for you to come to where I am now. But if you want to continue bringing up my past, you can stay in my past. That's straight and simple as it is. And many people don't like I'm cutthroat like that, I'm black and white like that. Well, that's how it is. That's how I am. If I try to open a door and try to explain, I over explain, I overshare, keep telling you, no, I've changed. How much more, if you're not willing to see me change, I can't help you. I can't help you. And so sometimes that's what happens with friends and family. You're desperate to get the approval of a certain person, your husband or this person, and you're doing everything you can to do it. No matter what you do, no matter how much weight you've done, if they do not want to see you change, they are never going to see you change. And no matter how hard you work, you are always going to see yourself as a failure, or you're always going to see yourself as a loss. I just want my mum to approve. She's never going to approve of you. If she does not want to, she ain't going to do it. If she doesn't feel that she can, she's not going to do it. And nothing you can do is ever going to be enough for that person. It's sad, because these are the people that are closest to you, that you absolutely want their accolade and their affirmation from. But if they're not in the place to do that, you cannot change it and you cannot control them. And this weekend, when I'm recording the podcast, I've realized a hard lesson. I cannot control people. And I try to control situations. I try to control these things to protect me. It all goes back down into the stronghold. That's what I've learned. Those coping behaviors, coping mechanisms is to protect you from getting hurt again. It's to protect you from failing at a diet again. That's what the coping mechanisms are. They're not positive. They're not positive. And if people often, when you're interacting with you're prickly because of those protections. They're not seeking to understand why and where you are. And they're also not seeking to acknowledge their part in what they played. However, another thing is, even if they do or don't, we need to get to that place where irrespective of what they do, you're no longer there. If you're no longer in that place, you need to find the tools to keep you out of that place. Because there will be attacks, there will be temptations that come, there will be words, there will be thoughts, smells, triggers that will come, and they will present itself to you like something at the door waiting for you to give it an opportunity to come in. When you give it the opportunity to come in, it comes in, and then you're right back to where you started, or you're right back to that type of thinking. It's hard, it's challenging. One way that you can do this is, okay, this is what's happened when I've tried to get affirmation from this person. I've tried, I've explained, I've over explained, I've overshared, and you're constantly doing the same things, but you're not getting the results that you want. How about we change what you're doing and then see if you get the results? Because if affirmation is what you want, you can get that from anyone on the internet, any random person. It doesn't make it the same because you want it from this person. But we have to look at where we're at now. If we're constantly trying to control things, if we're constantly trying to do things that will cause them to say well done, we can only go by what we see. And if they're showing you their behavior now, you have to accept it. As hard as it is, you have to accept it. And the thing is, why we keep going back to that is because of confidence, it's because of fear, it's because of insecurity. You have to know and speak over yourself. There's a Christian song that's called Encourage Yourself, and one of the lines in the song is, sometimes you have to encourage yourself, sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter what you feel, speak over yourself, speak over yourself, speak over yourself in the Lord. And that can apply to anybody. If you're not a Christian, some of you might know that as affirmations. You might be speaking positive affirmations, and I believe I can do this. And sometimes you say it and you don't believe it at all, but it's literally why you do it, why you can believe it. It's not just by saying I can do hard things. Everybody can do hard things, but what is different about it this time that actually shifts from you just saying it to it actually taking root in your heart and saying, actually, I can do this. Down to confidence, it's down to knowing who you are, it's down to who God's called you to be, and whatever it is that you're doing sustainably will work. Doesn't mean that everybody is going to agree with you. Not everybody's going to agree with what you're doing. Everybody might have an opinion to say, why are you tracking macros? You shouldn't track macros. You should cut out carbs. You should have 20 grams of carbs per day. You should do this per day. Do you. If they're not supporting you at all in your efforts, maybe look for support from another group, another external group. Maybe look for how you're doing it. How are you approaching trying to do it? If they are used to you saying to them, oh, this is it, this is my time, I'm fed up, then they see you doing something completely different to what you've said, then it's no wonder they keep saying the same things, because they can only go off what they see and what you show them. So sometimes they're fed up of hearing you say the same thing over and over again. And then you keep going to those people. One way I've dealt with that is I'm not going to them. If I'm going through something and I'm struggling, I'm not going to them with it. I will learn to deal with it myself. And there's a saying that says, make moves. Basically, the saying goes, don't tell them, show them. That's it. And that type of people, they want to be shown. But you're not doing it for them. In you doing you, in you building up your confidence and doing it for you, that will automatically be shown to everybody to see. If they choose to want to see it, they can. If they don't, they won't. Hard reality, hard pill to swallow, but that is the reality. And we cannot do this for anyone else but our health. That's my opinion. And then lastly, are you ready to limit your eating choices? Now, limiting your eating choices sounds a little bit restrictive. I'm not saying you need to restrict everything that you're eating. I'm definitely not saying cut out your carbs and do keto and do all of this. But you will need to make some changes to your routine, to your day. Now, what I'm saying is, I shared back in a few episodes where I spent up to £15 on Starbucks. Now, and that's just a coffee and a sausage wrap roll. Now, I could buy a 4-packet of rolls for 99p. I could buy sausages, put that in the freezer and make those. Healthy sausages, chicken sausages, or pork sausages, that skinny fat sausages that are low fat. I could make that. Having it every day might not help, but I can have it once or twice a week. So making sure that I am reducing my things, reducing my eating out, reducing eating things like that, but it's making simple choices. So when it comes to losing weight, we might not be able to eat the same amount of foods that we've done every day. Now, an example of that is, do you need to have, and I go back to McDonald's all the time, think of it in your favorite food place, wherever it is that you go to. Do you have a starters and a main as the first course, and then go and have something else and then a dessert? So for example, if you go to your fast food store, do you buy your main meal, a supercharged, the largest drink you can ever get, then you get some additional sides, some extra fries, extra nuggets, and that's just in one meal. It's not to share with anybody else. That's for one meal. Do you need to do that 3 times a day, or even 4 times, or even 5 times a day? However many times you have it. Question is, do you need to do that? But if you're ready to lose weight for good, your plan will include exercise. Your plan would include healthy nutrition choices, and it will also include a balance between eating out. Nobody's saying you need to cut all of these things out, because that's unrealistic. What they is saying is, are you ready to make these changes to the food choices that you're making? And it's important for you to know now what sacrifices are involved when you're losing weight and keeping it off, because then you can make sure that they are worth it for you. Your health goals, your health will tell you whether or not it's worth it, and you will begin to know it and begin to feel it. Now, in wrapping up, friends, we've just done the 4 ways to see how to tell if you are ready for weight loss. Do you have the time? And you're really breaking down that question into a tree, yes or no. And then if you go to yes, what does that mean? If you go to no, what does this mean? If you got maybe, how can you make this better? You're just developing it over time. And so the second one is, have you tried to lose weight before? Have your friends and family reacted to your weight loss plan either positively or negatively? And are you ready to limit your eating choices? Limiting them doesn't mean cutting them out or restricting yourself from them. It means incorporating healthy foods over a balance of time. And if you answer yes to any of these questions, then you are ready. If you don't, then you know you've got some work to do. You're answering questions to those 4 things. And if you're ready to make a change and lose weight and keep it off, it's not something that you need to do alone. I'm here to help you to be your wing woman. And if you're somebody who wants an easy to follow plan you can maintain, that you don't have to do restrictions, you don't have to cut this out, and it will teach you how to build healthy habits, so you know how to cook things, you know how to make time. This is what we focus on when we're focusing and we're working on a one-to-one basis. So my friends, if this sounds like something that will work for you, you want more information, grab your conversation with me. This is a higher investment than focus on the fat loss. So we will have a conversation, because this requires some skin in the game. So if that is you, then you can reach out to me, support@vanutritioncoaching.co.uk, or go to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk and find out all of the ways that you can work with me and book some time in the diary. But for now, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, 4 ways to tell if you are ready for weight loss and to keep it off. That's it, my friends. I can't wait to catch you in the next one. Hey friend, you made it to the end of the episode. What was your biggest takeaway from today's episode? Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review over on iTunes. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's episode, or you need help, then you can contact me over on Instagram @VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast, or email me support@vanutritioncoaching.co.uk, or you can head over to the Facebook page VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast. It helps us reach even more women who are fed up with dieting, don't know how to lose weight, they're frustrated with following Sally's results and they're not getting any of their own, and they just finally want to shed some pounds and do it in a way that they can sustain and they can enjoy. But my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode. I can't wait to catch you on the next one. Until then, friends, stay healthy, stay blessed, and remember, if you haven't already downloaded your 5-ingredient recipe pack, you can go to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/recipes and download your 5-ingredient recipe pack. Who said healthy eating was boring? See you next time, friend.